Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
We are fighting for the survival of the planet Earth, our only planet. How is this not a major priority? It must be a major priority. When you have a president who has access to all of the scientific information, who can make a phone call and bring every bloody scientist in the world into his office in a few days' notice, when you have a president of the United States who rejects and turns his back on that science, I mean, I think it is just idiotic.
First of all, we can't even get sports teams to go to the damn White House. What makes you think that scientists are going to shop? All right? So funny. I don't know if you saw any of that last night. Trump had to be laughing because it seems like it's really expensive. I just feel like a lot of what they were talking about is really expensive. And some of it seemed a little bit like, hey, we're going to plan the future. In the future, there's going to be less of each other. There's a scientist in Sweden's like, yeah, we may need to eat each other in the future. I'm like, excuse me? What? Oh, my goodness me. It's crazy. It's just, this is what it is, right? Like, this is the wokeness of the new world, right? I mean, we're woke, kids. We're woke. So the CNN's going to have a town hall on October 4th because I think it's National Coming Out Day, or October 10th. And it's going to be the same thing of what you just saw, but it's going to be 7 hours of LGBT. And wow, talk about intersectionality of stuff. Woo! Expensive. So expensive. Remember what I said, though, and I continue to say. This is a younger generation's fight. This is their big, huge fight. This is the battle for them.
This is the hardest thing we will have done, certainly in my lifetime as a country. This is on par with winning World War II, perhaps even more challenging than that. Does anybody really think we're going to meet that goal if between now and 2050 we are still at each other's throats? It's not going to happen. We've got to figure out a way to rally, and that means everybody from cities to farms to the federal government to the international community. I'm prepared to lead us to get that done.
Wow. Look at that. But who will follow is the question. I was just laughing. I watched some of it. I thought, this is just, it's a little bridge too far for me, guys. I got to be honest with you. Right? I know we need to do some stuff. I know we need to make things better, and I'm totally about that. Let's do it. Let's rock and roll. Let's have some fun. Let's change some of the things that we've done in the past so we can make a brighter future. I'm all on board with a lot of this stuff. But, man, it's hard. I got to be honest. I wonder, I mean, before Joe Biden's eyes started bleeding, maybe that's how you tell if he's lying, right? Like Pinocchio's nose grows and Joe Biden, his eyes bleed, right? Maybe that's it. Did you see that? That was creepy as hell. You're like, what? Is he going all stigmata on us? Joe, no. But how many of them do you honestly think last night who's out there answering these questions, right? And they're important for a lot of reasons. Because, yes, we need to take better care. We can talk about that ad nauseum. Yeah, we get that. But how many of them do you really think, I buy this? Or how many of them are like, I need to say this, this, and this, right? It's like watching these, the way that people cover the hurricanes, Like, who else finds it ridiculous that they send somebody outside in a hurricane? Who else finds that just absolutely asinine? Let's go to our star reporter. Here is, the minute this is done, wherever this, ends up slamming into Dorian, and it looks like South Carolina is going to get a huge brunt of this. There's going to be some real issues there. Anderson Cooper's going to be on a boat, right? In waders. And you're like, do we really need that? It's like, how much of this crap do you believe? I mean, who's buying a lot of this? And that's just my thing. Right? We say a lot about Trump, right? Because Trump is full of it all over the place. My God, you got the Sharpie incident yesterday.
Call it Mapgate 2019. Did President Trump show a doctored map hoping to prove he was right when he warned Hurricane Dorian would hit Alabama? The president displaying that map in the Oval Office.
That was the original chart, and you see it was going to hit not only Florida, but Georgia. It could have was going toward the Gulf. That was what what was originally projected.
The black line projecting that Dorian would move from Florida to Alabama appears to be drawn on by a marker.
And that becomes a story. Like, that's how hard up. This is a story. It's stupid. It's ridiculous. And yeah, he probably told him to do it. It's just so. I posted a picture of a dartboard with a bunch of darts that just missed, and then it's all drawn around. And people, I love the people who are angry, you know, because I poked fun at Trump. How dare you? I'll poke fun at all of them. They're all a bunch of clowns. They really are all a bunch of clowns. Bunch of pander smurfs. Who's your favorite smurf? Pander. Oh, hi, Pander Smurf. It's me. Oh, what do you want? I'll give it to you. Oh. So stupid. Just so stupid. Oh. I was telling the guys before we came on today, wouldn't it be just so like Trump to call? Is it? I guess it's the UK, right? Great Britain. Hey, Boris, I know you're having some trouble with Brexit, but how much for Bermuda? Got some issues, right? And we just capitalize it. Strike while the iron's hot. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson. Show is your Twitter. You know what I did this morning? First of all, I couldn't sleep. And I was staying at a hotel last night. And so I didn't have any of my usual things that I bring when I'm traveling. So I woke up at 3 o'clock this morning. And you know what was on? Because today's the start of the NFL season, for those of you who do not know. You know what was on, Producer Phil? AFL, Aussie Rules Football. Have you ever watched that?
I have not. I don't understand it.
It is so amazing. It is basketball meets football meets a little bit of soccer with some hockey and rugby thrown in. It is how it never became a bigger sport is beyond me. But I watched a lot of the commercials in between, and like Fox Sports or somebody had it, and it was interesting. You know, I love it. I remember as a kid watching it and stuff, and I tweeted out something about it. You know, here's 3 a.m. I'm watching it. It's their playoff season right now over there. And if you guys have never seen it, I just implore you, just watch the game. And most of our punters now in the NFL are Aussie Rules punters. They're guys who are, you know, I watched the Notre Dame game this weekend. It was Notre Dame versus Louisville. The Louisville kicker was 25 years old, the punter. He's 5 years younger than the Notre Dame kicker, who's 30. But they're both professional Aussie Rules players. And but I was watching, you know, Australia. I tell everybody, the one place that I could live, I lived in Britain and I loved the one place on earth I could live is Australia. I could do, because Australia is so much like America in a lot of ways. It is so much like America. And I read an article today that America is currently the 47th best place to live. I mean, worst place to live. So out of 60, they don't look at every country. They look at 64 countries globally. A lot of other ones are just, nobody wants to live there. So we're 47 out of 64. Second consecutive year we're there. And what they do is they talk to expats from each country, like people that have moved here from Australia or people, Americans that have moved to Australia and vice versa. And it's really interesting. They talk about the 5 pillars, quality of life, easily settling in, working abroad, family life, personal finance and stuff. And a lot of it's good. And a lot of it, I understand, you know, but it's so funny because the reality is we are the one thing that all of the expats were saying, though, is the thing about America is not the bureaucracy and the BS, because we all hate that, right? Like, the thing that they love, though, is the things that they're doing here, that all of them to a person pretty much said, well, I couldn't do this in my country. And that's what I found to be interesting. 47. Like, Vietnam's above us. I'm like, really? Who's living in Vietnam? Who? Besides Rambo. And in the new Rambo movie, he moves home. He's back in Bowie, Arizona. So he's not even living there anymore. Right? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Here's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Do love hearing from you. The climate thing was interesting last night. Like I said, we need to do better with climate. We all understand that, right? I want to do better. You want to do better. I'm not some of the stuff they suggest, to me, I look out there and I say, sounds great. Like, you're talking about $16 trillion. Like, Bernie is talking about $16 trillion on top of his forgiving every medical debt that's out there, on top of giving you free college, free health care, a job. My curiosity is still when people ask, hey, how you going to pay for that, bro? I'm just, because at some point in time, you're going to run out of other people's money. And based on all the things you got, it might be an hour one. And a lot of them don't have those answers. They don't. Technology. That's it. Technology. The person who figures out how to capture the nastiness that we emit will be the second richest person on earth, only behind the person that can figure out how to make donuts calorie-free. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. I got to tell you something. I'm excited to talk about Dave Chapelle today. We're going to talk about it in a little bit. Just the insanity of watching people melt down over what he did. And I think we were the first, right? Our little dog and pony show here. And we are a little dog and pony show, right? Right? I'm the little dog. I got my ponies. We're rolling around. We're the first to talk about this, sticks and stones. And it's just hilarious to watch people flip out about it for being called on the carpet for the reality of the BS they spew. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Hey, 20 veterans a day lose their life to suicide. Isn't that insane? 20 veterans a day. Men and women who serve our country, who come home and feel they have nothing. They're taking their own lives, struggling. On top of that, millions of dogs a year are euthanized. This organization I'm working with called Wounded Paw Project is amazing. What they do is they saw the need because the person who put this thing together, the person who started this, it was a dog, a service dog that changed everything in his life. And he realized our vets, our first responders, their families, they need this. Rescuing dogs that would be euthanized, taking them from shelter dogs to service dogs and getting them to the people who need it. That's amazing. It is incredible. I want you to check it out for yourself. They need your donations. Cash is amazing, but you know what else? Truck, RV, boat, vehicle, whatever you have, it is a vehicle for change. Go see what they're doing. It's amazing. WoundedPawProject.org, WoundedPawProject.org, or call them up. Say, hey, Chad told me to give you a call. I got a car. You can have it. You can get a great tax-deductible gift. 844-678-4PAW, 844-678-4729, or WoundedPawProject.org. You're going to be saving a paw to save a life. It is the Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show, the only place so far that the Mueller investigation hasn't deep probed for collusion.
Redacted! Redacted!
Stay tuned.
This is Chad Benson.
Where were we now? Well, Boris Johnson still doesn't have a majority rule in Parliament. He's kind of boxed in this kind of perfect prison of being Prime Minister, but not actually being able to do anything, not being able to affect the processes of how this country leaves the European Union. He's going to try again to ask Parliament to allow him to have an election. That will take place on Monday. It's likely, though, that the government will lose that. Then where do we go? Well, all bets are off.
All bets are off. Producer Phil was telling me he was watching C-SPAN. I was flipping around last night, Phil. I, too, watched C-SPAN, and it was hilarious watching them argue about what's going on and how or how not they're going to leave the British are leaving the European Union. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. No, I do not. Boris Johnson's brother even quit. Very angry. It's just so funny. I love it. Oh, their politics is hilarious. That should be a show right there. I'd watch that. If you've never seen Parliament, I was talking to a couple other hosts, and I just told them, you guys have never watched Parliament. I've been to Parliament on a few occasions. It is so amazing. Just here. People standing up, people sitting down, people standing up, people sitting down. Oh, yeah. It's just, oh, goodness me. They're still not leaving. What they're trying to figure out, and I'll give it to you real quick. He wants to leave now without a deal. People tell him, nope, we got to have a deal, trade deal with Europe before we leave. He wants to leave now, and we'll figure out the rest later. They want it figured out now. It's basically politics. Welcome to the world of politics. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Oh, man. I listened to just the people last night talking about climate change.
Let's not only reverse the damage.
This is Beto O'Rourke, the Irishman.
Let's not only reverse the damage that Donald Trump has done.
Just to let you guys know, Donald Trump's been in office like 2.5 years. I think climate change, if you guys are buying 100%, started before. Everything that has gone wrong, that is bad, that didn't start with Donald Trump. I just want everybody to get that. I want everybody just to understand that he didn't kill the dinosaurs, wasn't the second gunman on the grassy knoll. I just want you guys to get that.
Let's not only reverse the damage that Donald Trump has done, and he's done a lot. Let's go much further than any administration before his has gone.
Like the space? He's already doing that. He's got Space Force. Space Force. I love Space Force. I'm going to totally be in Space Force. It's going to be rad. We're going to have uniforms. It's going to be patches. It's going to be awesome. 323-538-2423. Just listening to him last night. And by the way, the polls show that this right here, because here's how we care in a situation like climate change and a lot of other stuff. We care only so far as it's going to really affect our pocketbook and certain bottom lines. Right. Well, the earth could be destroyed in 200 years. The reality is I'm not going to be here, so I don't care. That's kind of where we think. We think in the here and now, no matter what anybody wants to say. Dave Chapelle, he makes me laugh. He's not woke. And the left is letting him know how unwoke he is. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Another thing that a lot of the candidates are talking about is fracking or natural gas. It's been a huge growth in the energy sector since coal has kind of gone away and the president has hoarded a lot of American energy. Some of the candidates are talking about banning fracking on public lands, which is land the federal government owns. Others are talking about banning it on private land as well, like Senator Bernie Sanders. It's less clear exactly how that would play out, but it's another area where they're talking about making huge steps to release sources of greenhouse gas.
So there you go. Getting rid of fracking. Do all kinds of stuff. By the way, fracking is a come and go thing like oil is, right? Oil drops below a certain amount barrel. Same thing with natural gas and certain things like that. It becomes too expensive and it's not worth it. And you'll see over the coming year or so, there's going to be a lot of small and mid-level oil businesses that are going to struggle. Potentially, especially if oil continues to stay steady or fall down because it's just too expensive to get out. But I'm open to all sorts of stuff, and I continue to scream nuclear, nuclear, nuclear.
And right now, nuclear is more than 50% of our non-carbon causing energy. So people who think that we can get there without nuclear being part of the blend just aren't looking at the facts. The disasters from Chernobyl to Japan, where the science has gone right now, new nuclear actually portends of exciting things where you have no risk of the kind of meltdowns we're seeing, where they eat spent fuel rods. We actually can go to the kind of innovations that make nuclear safer or safe.
Yeah, we can. We can. Well, look. First of all, Chernobyl was a mess because of who was running Chernobyl, right? We have gotten a lot better. We've gone a lot further. We're a little bit schmata. Get over yourself. But what happens if we have nothing? Nothing's going to happen. Get over yourself. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Get over yourself if you think that nuclear is great. I was telling the guys, man, nuclear the hell out of a car for me. I will take it all day. All day long. Wouldn't you pay like 40 or 50 grand for a car that you never had to ever fill up, never had to stop and charge, never had to do any of that? Hell yeah. It's my nuclear car, just driving the hell out of this bad dog. We put our guys in submarines, right? Tell them. How do you think those ships get around? Do you think they just pull over, right? Our subs, like, hey, hold on, you guys, I got to fill up. No. What do you think they run on? Hopes and dreams? Nope. Nuclear. Speaking of nuclear.
Played with the sort of the dominant sort of ethos of things and flipped things around, especially around race. But now today, I would say that Dave Chapelle, I don't know how familiar Australians are with George Carlin and his 7 dirty words, which sort of blew up all the establishment niceties. Now Chapelle, coming at it from this crazy side-on perspective, is now blowing up all of the, I think, pieties of the establishment, and they hate it. And he's been canceled by Vice and all these other lefty websites.
Yeah, because he didn't care, right? Like, first of all, if you know anything about Dave Chapelle, the guy doesn't care, right? Over a decade ago, when his show was at its height, the Chappelle Show, they offered him a gank of cash. At the time, it was unheard of, right? I think the Comedy Channel, Comedy Central offered him like $50 million for 5 more years of the Chappelle Show. And it's not like the Chappelle Show was, hey, we're going to do 56 episodes. You know, it's not like that. No. It's like, hey, you know what? You're going to do 56 episodes probably over the 5-year period. I think they offered him like $50 million. And then he just said, I quit. And he went to Africa and he wandered. The guy doesn't care. And that's why he was able to do what he did. And his new special is crushing it. And if you go online and you look at the ratings, the audience review has it through the roof. But the critics, and remember, critics are exactly that. Like, who's a critic, right? Somebody who's going to go watch your movie, watch your play, and they're going to give you a critique on it, usually coming from a point of view, especially nowadays, right? A little bit woke. And so they hammer him because everybody's got, like, a critic for the Huffington Post. I'm just going to go out on the limb here and say there's a chance that person's probably somewhat liberal. I'm just saying. So the audience, which is all Dave Chapelle cares about, right? That's all Dave Chapelle cares about, is the audience. He didn't care, and I didn't even care about the audience, but he's there to make these people laugh and for people to laugh and some people to think. You're not there to be your pal, right? As far as the, hey, critic, let's be pals, you know, because how many times, this is what I always notice. When a critic usually loves a movie, means the movie's going to die a horrible death at the box office. Amazing, stunning. The acting was out of the world, blah, 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 blah. And you go and you're like, it's the worst thing I've ever seen. It's just awful. Chappelle handles everything in this. He goes after white people, black people, and it's not even an attack. Here's the thing. This is the other thing we've got to stop doing in this woke world. Because somebody makes a joke about something doesn't mean you're being attacked. Right? That doesn't mean that. Right? I'm not attacking you. We're having fun. You want equality? You're going to have to learn to have a sense of humor. And if you can't have a sense of humor, then that's on you. Because this is the more that you can laugh at yourself and stop taking certain things seriously, the better your life is going to be. And of course, if you're not on that woke side, right, everything then is attacked. And he goes after everybody and everything From Me Too to the LGBT to white people to all kinds of issues that a lesser comic just couldn't get away with.
The right to choose is their unequivocal right. Not only do I believe they have the right to choose, I believe that they shouldn't have to consult anybody except for a physician about how they exercise that right. Gentlemen, that is fair. And ladies, to be fair to us, I also believe if you decide to have the baby, a man should not have to pay.
What?
That's fair. If you can kill this, I can at least abandon him. It's my money, my choice. And if I'm wrong, then perhaps we're wrong. Figure that out for yourselves.
Exactly. I love it. But he's getting destroyed for it. Why? Well, he should, right? You know, because he's what? He's being honest. He's having fun with it, but he's being honest, and he's making people think. And we just don't do that enough. And that's the one place people, comedy's at right now, maybe at its strongest, biggest time that it's ever had. It had that boom in the 80s, right? That was big, where there was a comedy club on every corner. It is bigger now than it has been forever. There's more ways to interact and to see things than ever before. And people are going to places like comedy clubs because they feel like, you know what? For the average person who doesn't want to walk around on eggshells, it's kind of their safe space where they can go in and everybody can have a good time and everybody can laugh. I think it's awesome. And we need more of that. I love the fact that he says that stuff. I think it's true. Just not about that, but across the board. Right? I can be honest about a lot of things. Right? And at the same time, I can laugh at a lot of things, including myself, on a daily basis. So many people are so touchy about stuff. But he's getting destroyed by the wokeness. I'm woke, Dave. You're mean. When it wasn't even out yet. I read an article. It was about, 3 weeks ago, whatever. I was telling the guys. It's about 3 weeks ago. I read an article about it. And the article, I don't know if it was in Vox or something like that. All it talked about was how awful it was. And it mentioned a few of his jokes. And the first thing I said was, I got to see this. Right? I got to see this. And it was spot on. And then the next thing you know, you saw it there, producer Phil. You thought it was funny.
I thought it was funny, and I'm not normally a Chapelle fan.
No. He is an acquired taste. But the reason he gets away with the same reason that Chris Rock gets away with certain things. Because one big thing is they don't care. You have to have that attitude. I don't give a rat's ass what you think. Secondly, he's also at a point, too, where he can do this. Lesser known couldn't do it. I've always said, Howard Stern's great at what he does. He came along today. He could never be Howard Stern. Just couldn't happen. Right? Just couldn't happen. Not today. Not with political correctness. Not with everybody being woke. Not with virtue signaling. Could not happen. He can get away with it now because he's so established. He has gotten to the point where he is so big that he can call his own shots. Interesting. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. I like hearing from each and every one of you. I do. I'm still laughing about this stuff with the college admissions scandal. I'm curious to see how long Aunt Becky goes to jail. She's just got to be losing it. Wonder what she's going to be like in jail. Just thinking about that for a second. She's going to be in jail, right? She's going to jail. And the colleges now, they're really, they're keying in on these colleges. But if you're a private university, who cares? It's like, I'm a private university. So I let somebody in whose dad makes $10 million a year, and there may be a chance that Pops or Mom or the family endowment may endow us some money, especially if we treat little Johnny or Jenny okay. Well, it's just not fair. To who? To whom? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. It's your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Speaking of unpolitically correct, Scarlett Johansson, you know her. She's done something. She's getting blowback from it as well. Oh, goodness me. It's so weird. You just have to think in this day and age that you're going to get, there's something in your past, whether it's a joke at a coffee shop or a tweet that you liked that you didn't even know, or something that you laughed. I mean, there's something out there, and it's just not if but when. It's like having your identity stolen. It's not if but when. We're going to talk about Scarlett coming up. Tell you guys this. I did not sleep well last night. I did not have my MyPillow. I tweeted out. People were like, "Oh, where's your with all your MyPillow stuff?" I said, "I didn't have it. I didn't have anything other than the bed I slept on and those awful pillows." Oh God, it was at the point where I was like, "I'm just gonna get like my clothes and just roll them up and sleep on it." It was that bad. MyPillow is amazing. I'm telling you guys, try it. You get a 60-day money-back guarantee, a 10-year warranty, and right now, for my listeners, Mike Lindell's doing something amazing. He's the inventor, the CEO of MyPillow. Up to 50% off everything. Mattress toppers, MyPillows, bed sheets, so much more. Plus, this is amazing. Normally it's $90. This giant body pillow, which is awesome. Now, $29.99. All you got to do is use code Benson. That's it. Go to MyPillow.com, MyPillow.com. Use code Benson. You're going to save up to 50% off everything. Doesn't matter what it is, and even more with the body pillow for only $29.99, regularly $90. You can go to MyPillow.com, use promo code Benson, or call 800-983-4975 or MyPillow.com. Remember to use the promo code Benson. Oh, Scarlett, what have you done? Chad Benson Show.
Check out our Chad Benson Show Facebook page where you can hang out or hang your grievances out to dry. This is Chad Benson.
Our long national nightmare is over. The NFL returns tonight. Packers in Green Bay. I'm excited. I am. And I'll get people that'll text me throughout the day, "I can never watch that again." I'm like, well, it's fine. Would you expect me not to watch it? Yes, because somebody kneeled. I don't watch the game whether they kneel or don't kneel. I watch the game because I enjoy the game. That's why I watch it. I'm excited, pumped. Think the Patriots have another chance of going. I think Kansas City's going to be awesome. I think the Browns are going to be interesting, if nothing else. And tonight you got the Packers and you got the Bears. I mean, the two of the most storied franchises and arguably the best rivalry in the NFL. I just love it. And college football, my God, yeah, this weekend it's huge already. But it's just so amazing to just still listen to people bitch. Well, I could never watch it because, they hate the flag and they hate it. It's just like, oh, God. How do people live? How do you live? How do you get through the day? Wrapped in patriotism like that. I'm curious. Wrapped in wokeness or patriotism. I don't know how you do it, but God bless each and every one of you. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Don't worry about your teen if they're not dating.
So your teen's worried that there's something wrong with him or her because they haven't gone on a date, parents?
There is.
Now you have proof that it may be better for them in the long run. A study published in the Journal of School Health found kids who didn't have a romantic relationship by the time they were in 10th grade had higher teacher ratings when it came to social skills and were less likely to be depressed. Not dating also had no effect on the number of friends kids have.
Kids don't date anymore, right? They don't date anymore. And they're also talking about people who probably, they don't have a lot of friends. They do have a lot of friends. I don't even know anymore what it is like when I see kids because they don't. Like, everybody just hangs out And most of these hang out online. That's the new mall. And but you do want to encourage that, right? Like, we don't want to be like Japan. Like, if you guys look at the numbers in Japan, the numbers are frightening about how they're not replenishing. People are dying and they're not replenishing. They're not dating. And it's been, 3-4 decades since they really stopped pushing arranged marriages. They may want to look into bringing that back. It's a struggle. And by the way, if you're a single guy, go to Japan. It's walking around Twitter. I mean, it's walking around Tinder. That's it. Just keep swiping. Whatever you want. Chad. Why are you so honest? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. You text the program. I'm good with the texting and the tweeting. Again, I try to answer everybody back. Can't always do it, so hold your horses. I got the Packers tonight, not going to lie to you. I think the mustache, Aaron Rodgers, is going to have a good year. It's going to be fun. I'm excited. Patriots, baby. Is this number 7? I've lost count. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I'm excited about football. Chad, you can't be excited about football because they kneel. No, I can. I can absolutely be excited about football. I just want to let you guys know that. I can do that. I can do that. You don't have to do that. You can be in the cancel culture, too. I'm excited about it. I'm pumped. Hey, Phil, there's always next year. I like to. That's what usually. This is what I get. Saturday, midday my time, a little bit later because Phil's on the East Coast. And I will get a text, about the second quarter, Phil, when you will say to me, there's always next year when it comes to the Redskins.
There's always next year.
Already starting that. He started that like the second or third quarter of the preseason game. I'm just pumped about it. It's going to be fun. Gonna be fun. So let me ask you this. Do you remember the wall? We touched a bit about it yesterday, right? Remember the wall and all of this stuff that was going to happen? Mexico's not paying. I think we can all, Mexico's not paying for it. But immigration's still a mess. It really is. It is an ugly, ugly mess. And I still don't see a fix. Talked to Congressman Andy Biggs earlier today. There's no fix. Nothing's out there. No fix getting done. 50,000 people apprehended last month, which, that's down. Yeah, but it's 3 times what it was a year ago. And this time of year, you would expect it to be down because of the heat. There's still nothing getting done. It's amazing. It really is. Because there's no want to do anything. That's my thing in a way, because everybody wants it their way or the highway. Climate change is a perfect example. People ask me all the time, do you believe in climate change? Yeah, I believe the climate change. Do you believe it's man-made? I said, man has a part to play in this. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Do I think it's 50-50, 60-40, 40-60? I don't know. It depends on where I look. Everybody can cherry pick data. What I do know, though, is it's being used by a group of people who would like more control. That scares me. Says some odd things. That scares me. Costs a lot of money. That scares me. All on solutions that, quite frankly, they're not really solutions. They're not even, they're ideas in fantasy land that feel more about getting control of stuff than actual getting anything done. It's the same thing at the border, right? Like, everybody's they don't have solutions. They talk about strictly the problem. My old boss used to say this to me all the time. Don't bring me a problem, bring me a solution. Finally, I asked him one day. I said, Jeremy, where'd you get that? He was an English guy. It was when I lived in England. He just said, that's how you start things. and work your way backwards. Right? Because if you're coming with something, you're going to hyper-focus on that singular thing. I'm coming with a whine, a bitch, a moan, a problem. I'm going to come, if you come in with a few solutions, see what sticks. Sometimes stuff sticks. Not everything's going to work. I think we could use some energy. It could be fantastic. Some of the stuff we could do. And by the way, it has to be all. Can't just be us and a few other nations. And with immigration, same thing. Let's start with some solutions. Where do we start with? Well, first of all, let's find out who's here. Let's stop the flow as best that we possibly can. That includes all ports of entry. Let's start doing the right thing when it comes to protecting our border and our land. And then we'll work our way from there. We don't do that anymore because the problem is where the money's at. The problem is where the money is at. That's where the power lives. That's where the money's at. That's where your relevancy is. Some people are serious about getting things done, but after a while, they get caught up in it, right? Becomes like one of those TV evangelists. They start out with the right thing, right? They love God. They want to do all of these things, you know, and somewhere along the line, it all becomes blurred and they get caught up in it. Next thing you know, they're flying around, private jets, living the dream, and not wanting to give it up. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. I found this to be very disturbing today.
Rap superstar Nicki Minaj retiring.
Let it soak in.
Fans soaking in that news. In a post on Twitter, she says she's decided to retire and have a family. It's not clear if she's serious. She's known for saying wild stuff on social media. The 36-year-old holds the record for the woman with the most Billboard Hot 100 singles in history, selling more than 20 million albums as a solo artist.
First of all, isn't that insane? She sold 20 million albums. She's got records like that. And the first thing that came to my mind is retiring from what? It's like, well, from being Nicki. No, you'll always be Nicki. You're like 25 or 30. You're not retiring. It's a crazy thing. But it's funny because the perfect example of the craziness. So I'm reading that today. It pops up on my little smart news thing, and I start reading it. Then I see the comments comparatively to other stuff that's out there. And you're just like, wow. It's like not, like this is what people are talking about. Nobody's sitting around the water cooler unless you're at a place that is hyper focused on things like climate change or whatever. They're sitting around going, you know, did you hear Nicki? Nicki's retiring. Nicki Minaj? Yeah, she's retiring. No way. Yeah. Even here, I've got news people here. Some of them are young. They were talking about it earlier. Not the things that are happening. Talking about this. I was like, really? That's crazy. Yeah. More entertaining. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. So, you know, here's craziness. So first of all, let's talk about the map. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Call it Mapgate 2019. Did President Trump show a doctored map hoping to prove he was right when he warned Hurricane Dorian would hit Alabama? The president displaying that map in the Oval Office.
That was the original chart, and you see it was going to hit not only Florida but Georgia. It could have was going toward the Gulf. That was what was originally projected.
The black line projecting that Dorian would move from Florida to Alabama appears to be drawn on by a marker.
The amount of hours in the last, let's say it's in the last 36 hours. So depending on the time of the day. So I get in here early in the morning. I usually have on one of my local channels here that shows old time shows. So it's usually Maverick or Wanted Dead or Alive with Steve McQueen, old Western shows. And I'll watch a bit of that while I'm doing work because I get here extra early. I get here, like today I was here about 5 o'clock in the morning. Right. And I go throughout the day. I do 3 shows, do all my stuff. So watch that. Eventually I'll turn it on to one of the news things. And it's usually always on mute. Always. In the last 36 plus hours, between Mike Pence and the hotel he stayed at and whether or not the Sharpie thing, which I thought was just hilariously stupid, and I tweeted something out about, Trump drawing, people drawing stuff on there. Between those two things, the amount of coverage those things got that, quite frankly, didn't deserve really any coverage. We could just move on. You got Dorian slamming into South Carolina, which is going to be an absolute beast. I was talking to one of the people that I work with out in Florida the other day, and we were talking about this, and they said, you know what? I would rather have a Category 4 hurricane that's fast-moving whip through here than potentially Category 2 or even a tropical storm that is as lazy as this thing is and moseying on through and just dumps a deluge of water and just sits there. The flooding, because we can handle a lot of the wind. But the amount of coverage, the map, they just had like 4 people. 4 people with Wolf Blitzer or whoever was on talking about this. 4. Could you imagine, what are you going to talk about today? You're going to talk about the map from yesterday. Really? There's nothing else we could talk about? The day before, what are you going to talk about? We're going to talk about Mike Pence in Ireland and where he stayed. Okay? And this is are people in America, is this what they're clamoring for? Is this real life? Is this what people are like, hey, you know what I'd really like to know about? Where did Mike Pence stay? What happened there? Well, the amount of money it cost us. We're worried about it now. That's what it's so funny when the other side has power, depending on what side you're on, you care about it then, right? The Republicans freaked out about the debt until they had the chance to run the show. Then they ran the debt up. And then the Democrats didn't care about the debt when they had the show. Then when Republicans have the show, they care about the debt. Nobody ever cares about the debt when they're supposed to. We're worried about, there's only about 6 years left, or 11 years, 8 years, 9 years, 12 years, until the world comes to an end because of climate change. Nobody, the world we're going to leave our kids and our grandkids and our great-grandkids is awful. I'm like, no, we need to do some stuff about it. Absolutely. There's lots of solutions out there. Nobody ever says, hey, the debt we're going to leave our kids is really bad. Right? It's really, really bad. We may get repossessed at the rate we're going. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter. You can tweet at me. I did not sleep well last night. I didn't have I tweeted out this morning 3:30. I can't sleep. So I was up watching an AFL game. If you know, that's Aussie rules football. Just awesome. So people are like, why don't you have you can't sleep with all your MyPillow stuff? I'm like, yeah, I can sleep with MyPillow stuff. I'm in a hotel. I didn't have anything. It ended up being I'm going to stay here. Exhausting. Sleeping. It was just awful. I'm in a hotel again tonight. Don't have anything. Don't expect a good night's sleep. MyPillow tomorrow night, I can guarantee you, I will catch up on my sleep over the weekend. It's that big of a game changer. And right now, MyPillow, Mike Lindell, the CEO, founder, has got an amazing thing for you. Ready for this? Up to 50% off everything. MyPillows, mattress toppers, bed sheets, everything. And even bigger saving when it comes to the body pillow. And the body pillow is incredible. Normally $90, now $29.99 with promo code Benson. 60-day money-back guarantee, 10-year warranty. You've got nothing to lose. Check it out. You're going to save huge. I do mean huge. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener special, or call 800-983-4975. Use the promo code Benson. Again, up to 50% off, including the body pillow for only $29.99. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson, 800-983-4975. It is easily the best night's sleep. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where the sensible center hangs out. Hey, you! That doesn't mean you can put your feet up on the table.
You're just
Despicable. This is Chad Benson.
If your summer just ended without you taking off all the time you expected or intended, welcome to the club. Last year, Americans collectively left an estimated 768 million vacation days unused, paid vacation days.
Why are we doing that? I'm just curious. I know why some people do. And I'm weird for vacation. I took 2 days off last week, and obviously we had Labor Day, and I had a vacation about, 6-8 weeks ago, whatever it was, and for me, because I always need to be doing something, but I like 5 days. That's about it. But I wonder why other people do it.
Paid vacation days. That shakes out to about 8 wasted days for every person surveyed. The numbers come from U.S. Travel Association, Oxford Economics, and Ipsos. Close to a third of those days don't roll over, so they're gone completely, costing Americans $65.5 billion in lost work benefits and immeasurable benefits when it comes to overall well-being.
Yeah, big time. We need it. This is what I always suggest to people. Take a day here or there. You don't always have to take big days. Right? Take a day here, take a day there, take a day here, take 2 days here. Because you need it. How many of you listening out there, when you have a day or two where you don't do anything, you decompress, literally decompress. Like last week, I didn't follow the news at all. Like if something big happened, obviously the Odessa shooting and stuff, I got the facts, saw the stuff, didn't watch any talking heads. I just, but outside of that, I didn't pay any attention. And what it does for you, how cathartic it is, and how when you come back, you're ready to hit the ground running. It's awesome. And I know for some people, especially people who look back, say 10 years ago plus, right? They worry about if I go away on vacation, this place might find out they don't need me. And my job won't be here when I come back. Or that the minute you're gone, they're conspiring to get rid of you. We think that way. We totally think that way. And for some people, look, I understand that, right? It's if you're in an industry, if you're in the media industry where budgets are always seemingly to get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. But it's crazy that I talk to people and they don't use it. And then I talk to some people and they use the hell out of their vacation days. They're going to just use every one of them they can. Good. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. Some of the stuff that Bernie talked about last night, I had to be honest with you. It was a little weird. It was, First of all, the cost and all that stuff. We can get into all that, but there was a few moments there where I kind of took a step back, and I'm like, is he running to be? Is he running to be the leader of some sort of party that is going to be, I don't know, run out of China, but here? Because it felt, they feel like they're coming for a lot of stuff. And all the while, I was still waiting to hear a lot of solutions last night, and I didn't hear. I hear about a lot of the things that we can't do, but I didn't hear a lot about what we should be doing and the things that we will be doing and the things that we can do. And I sure in the hell didn't hear a lot about paying for it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show Twitter. So Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
So they climated it up last night. Climate change. Chad, you need to take this more serious. I know I probably should, but I can't because it just, here's my problem is they're so far out there that it's tough to have a conversation when I listen to, first of all, let's just talk about the price. Well, it's going to cost a lot. Well, Chad, it could cost us everything. It could. Right? Could. And then again, it may not. We've heard this on a quadrillion, when I was growing up. It was like, the new ice age is here. We're all going to die. Oh, God. And here we are all these many years later. So it could. Might not. Right? But when I listened to some of them last night, and this in particular is a woman asking a question to Bernie Sanders, it's a little scary.
Human population growth has more than doubled in the past 50 years. The planet cannot sustain this growth. I realize this is a poisonous topic for politicians, but it's crucial to face. Empowering women and educating everyone on the need to curb population growth seems a reasonable campaign to enact. Would you be courageous enough to discuss this issue and make it a key feature of a plan to address climate catastrophe?
Well, Martha, the answer is yes.
Yes, we'll sterilize the hell out of you. What do you guys think of that? Well, you like those apples? No apples for you. We're sterilizing you. That's scary. The answer is yes. And I love it. Like, we're going to run out of everything. Just, again, just take a deep breath for a second and think about what she said. Right? Think about it in your mind, what she said. Talking about the fact, and you're getting people already now. It's like, you have Prince Harry. It's like, we're only going to have 2 kids because we don't want to destroy the earth. Well, how many kids were you going to have anyways? I got to be honest with you. I didn't see you guys as like 50 kid people, right? I didn't. I saw you as a 1 or 2 kid kind of couple, right? I don't see you as, we're going to have a dozen. I don't see that.
And educating everyone on the need to curb population growth seems a reasonable campaign to enact. Would you be courageous enough to discuss this issue and
to enact? Oh, Martha.
Make it a key feature of a plan to address climate catastrophe?
The answer is yes. The answer has everything to do with the fact that women in the United States of America, by the way, have a right to control their own bodies. And the Mexico City Agreement, which denies American aid to those organizations around the world that allow women to have abortions or even get involved in birth control, to me is totally absurd.
Totally absurd. Just feels a little scary, right? Feels like a lot of government control. Producer Anthony brought up something. What if in the future they decide, based on your carbon footprint, they will decide whether you should or shouldn't have children? That couldn't happen. And the whole first of all, the problem I have a lot of this stuff, right, is we're talking about us. That's one of the big, they asked last night, well, could you make China do this? China's going to laugh at your ass and say, China, and they're like, yeah, we're totally on board with this. And they're going to do whatever they do. They're not going to stop their world and their growth and their economic expansion because somebody in Palo Alto thinks it's a good idea, right? Somebody in Seattle. They're just not. Just, it feels a little uncomfortable. That's all I'm saying. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. I do like it when you tweet at me. Feel free to do so. All right, so this is nothing in this day and age can get to a point where we don't talk about it being racial or evil or bad or something like this. It's a bar, Sacramento, deciding that, hey, we're going to do some stuff here when it comes to our dress code. And the minute people see it, they flip.
A new dress code at a Midtown Sacramento bar in the spotlight tonight.
The whole list bothers me. Men of color,
black men in particular.
It does not say that, by the way. It does not say the dress code has to be, no men of color or anything like that.
Black men in particular wear a lot of the things on that list.
And some say the new rules are discriminatory, especially against African Americans.
All right, so what's on the list? Take a look at what's on this list, right? Because again, people are upset. Like this is definitely bad. So it says, and this, by the way, it's at Bar West. This is after 10 p.m. No sweats or joggers. Not quite sure. What's a jogger? Is that those pants that look like khakis or something or jeans, but they're really jogging pants? I'm not quite sure. No gang colors. What? No solid color T-shirts. No chains out. This one's my favorite. I thought of you, Phil. No grills.
I'd die without my grill.
Oh, no baggy clothes, no sportswear, which I'm unsure of what exactly that is. Is that so it's like football tonight. And it's kind of an upscale, kind of cool. It looks like, it's one of those places where they open up the doors or sliding glass doors and you could sit outside and inside at the same time kind of thing. And I feel like they're going to be showing the game tonight. Does that mean I cannot wear my Packers thing? And no track pants, which means that no Russians. They love themselves some track pants. So essentially they say it's modern day whites only. And the battle is on whether or not this is modern day whites only.
Yeah, this is a popular stretch of nightlife here on Sacramento and on J Street and 28th. The bar in question is Bar West. It sits right next to Red Rabbit, just down the ways from Harlow's. But some patrons tell me that they've seen, specific shoes not allowed at area bars. But they also tell me that they feel the dress code here is targeting specific groups.
Yeah, people that they don't want. Let me tell you, I'll tell you a story, right? Because I like stories. Stories are fun. Relatable. When I was in England, living over there, playing football and doing my stuff, right, working in the radio, there were clubs, a majority of clubs that you would go to outside, in particular, outside of certain clubs in London, which was totally different. But in the areas that I lived in, Camberley and Surrey and a few other areas in and around, in Wokingham and Farnborough and stuff, the clubs that you went to were like nightclubs, like there were pubs that became nightclubs. You couldn't wear jeans, right? You had to have a collared shirt on and or a dinner jacket and or a tie. That you couldn't, there was no football jerseys, soccer jerseys at all, period, case closed. Right now, London was a little bit different. The nightlife and stuff is, it's like L.A. I mean, you're not gonna, but that's the way it is. And they would look at you, and if you didn't have a collared shirt on and you didn't have proper shoes, you couldn't wear tennis shoes. I mean, and you're going to a club, you're going out dancing, and you're dressed like, I had friends who were like, they're dressed up better than they would be to go to work just to get into the club. So I understand what people are saying. Right? Because it says no grills. Are you saying white people can't have grills? Because I feel that's a little racial.
People want to dress how they want to dress.
Bar West on J Street is one of the popular hotspots in Sacramento's midtown scene, known for its burgers and wings and nightlife.
I just want to know who they're trying not to have us come to their establishment. Just say that.
Just recently, a patron dining next door says she walked out to see this dress code sign that included no grills, no chains, no baggy clothing, and no sportswear.
Okay. I get it, right? But still, well, Chad, that's because predominantly, that white people can't have grills? I feel like that's a little, you're profiling right there. White person could have a grill, right? First person I ever saw with a grill or a grill-like thing was Mick Hucknall, lead singer of Simply Red. He had like a diamond, but he had it all embedded in his teeth. It's very bizarre. Just saying. The colors thing, I get that, right? You don't want stuff going down in your club. That I got no problem with that. And remember, as this person points out, it's whose business?
If they want to keep a certain kind of vibe and energy and brand out here, I completely respect that. They have the right to do that. And if someone wants to wear sweats or joggers or any of those things on there, they could just go somewhere else.
Just go somewhere else. Get out of here. Maybe they've had, and remember, this is after 10 o'clock. So I don't know if you show up at like 8 o'clock and you're in clothes that, your shorts or, you're wearing red or blue or pink or green or orange or whatever. If they allow you in and you could just stay past then. But I understand what people are trying to do. Is it wrong? Well, people are going to take it however they want to take it. Well, they feel like, that they're going against somebody. I get that. That I can understand. It's also their establishment. Have they had trouble there before? And everybody's reached out to them and they're not, and they're getting the backlash. This is racist, this, that, and the other. It's you don't know the entire story. You don't. You don't know the entire story. What's going on? Like I said, when I lived in Europe, this wasn't a race thing. It was an everybody thing. Couldn't wear a soccer jersey in certain places. You couldn't, you had to wear like a suit and a tie to go to a damn club. Like, I got to be honest with you, dancing in a suit and tie, not cool. You lose a cool vibe right there. But everybody else is uncool, so at least, we're all dorky. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. What do you think? Is this wrong? Is this racist? I don't think it is. People are going to take it that way. Is it because of the grills? Well, you can't wear grills. I mean, I feel like white people could wear grills. Producer Phil's always got his grill on. Could I wear Bubba teeth? Remember those? How awful were those? Those are just dumbest things ever. Oh, my Lord. Super Beats! You like Super Beats? You've not tried? You need to try them. I've got my powder, my Super Beats powder. And Beats, by the way, this stuff is amazing. I've been taking it for a long time. And I'm a go guy. It's what I do. I go. This morning I was struggling because I didn't have the sleep I wanted to get. I worked out a lot yesterday. I played soccer midday. I played in a game last night, and I did not get a lot of sleep. So, boom, first thing I did is I have my chewables with me. And boom, away I go. And what Beats have are nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow. Better flow equals what? More energy and efficiency throughout your body, and supports healthy blood pressure. And it's awesome. So there's two ways you can get this now. They've got the chews, and of course they've got the powder. It's simple. You take the powder, you pour it in. Just one scoop of powder, away it goes. It's equal to 3 whole beets. That's how amazing it is. Just one scoop, a little bit of water, away you go. It is incredible. Right now, try it risk-free for 90 days. All you do is visit superbeats.com/Chad. You can get a free 30-day supply. Free shipping, free nitric oxide strips. Make sure you check out your nitric oxide levels with your first purchase. You can call them toll-free at 800-875-9341 or superbeatsradio.com/Chad. Superbeatsradio.com/Chad. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
Ben & Jerry's is out with a new ice cream flavor for a cause, Justice Remixed, inspired by racism in the criminal justice system. Part of the proceeds will go to the Advancement Project National Office, which fights for justice across racial and economic lines. The new flavor is a combination of cinnamon bun dough, brownies, and chocolate ice cream.
What are you eating? Racism and injustice? That's odd. I thought it was vanilla. Nope. So I think it's interesting and it's cool. It's for his cause, raises money. Got zero problems with that. It's just odd, isn't it? Let's listen to that again.
Ben & Jerry's is out with a new ice cream flavor for a cause, Justice Remixed, inspired by racism in the criminal justice system.
I love vanilla ice cream. It's the only ice cream I pretty much eat. We should totally call it. You know what I'm going to call it from now on? What are you having? A little white privilege. Oh, right on. Yeah. Sometimes I have vanilla bean white privilege. Sometimes I have French white privilege, and every once in a while just have regular old homemade white privilege. Slow churned white privilege. So bizarre. Speaking of bizarre, I believe Hollywood has officially run out of ideas. I'm thinking Cheers is next.
The 90s sitcom Mad About You has a date for its revival. The show about a married couple in New York City starred Helen Hunt and Paul Reiser, and now they're back for 12 episodes on Spectrum. But in 2015, Paul Reiser told me he wasn't into revisiting his old shows.
I watch a reboot and go, wow, they've aged. You don't need to see that. Enjoy what you enjoyed and move on.
Clearly he's changed his tune. Mad About You returns November 20th. Jason Nathanson, ABC News, Hollywood.
God, are they that short of ideas? I'm just curious. And so if you were going to have a reboot of something, and I couldn't even think of anything I'd want to see a reboot. Now, if it was a one-off, like a 2-hour movie, right? Like if you asked Seinfeld, you guys want a reboot of just the last episode? Right? One more bite at the cherry? Would you think about that? But the difference was, here's the thing with Seinfeld. He doesn't care. He doesn't go back there. Right? Like Paul Reisner, a few other people, they're willing to go back because not that times are lean, not that they're broke or anything, but you had a chance, man. You have a chance. Isn't it weird, though? We think about it. Like, we would think it's weird for them to reboot. But if today a band gets back together, like if Nicki Minaj said she's getting the band back together and coming out of retirement, we'd be like, yes, we've been waiting. And we get excited. Like, oh. But it's weird, though, when it comes to television shows. The thing is, Hollywood, they've run out of ideas. I mean, like, there's anybody making any new comic books for us to do shows on? So if I was going to have one show, though, I was talking earlier about this when I heard about this. I'm like, what's like one, like Cheers, I guess it was one, right? Like Different Strokes we can't do, obviously. It's just be Todd Bridges by himself. People go, how did you survive? I don't know. That would be hilarious, though. Different Strokes. Todd's just living it up. He's the only one around. Mrs. Garrett might still be alive. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. And tweet at us. Football, baby. Not too far away. Not at all. I'm excited. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
When I stand, and you guys love to conflate these things. And so the fact that the whole purpose of what I was saying did not in any way affect my point. It has nothing to do with the judgment of whether or not you send troops to war, the judgment of whether you bring someone home, the judgment of whether or not you decide on a health care policy.
Not
you
judgment,
understand
Mr.
that.
President. No, not judgment, but details. Because
Detail.
that's something I've heard from some voters, maybe not at your events, but details.
No, but the details are irrelevant.
Well, no, they are relevant. But that's about his gaffes and did you overspeak here? And remember that he's been derailed a couple times while running for president. And what I find interesting about this, and if you watched last night, and the whole bleeding eye thing was a little off-putting. He went all stigmata on us. But is the way that the media goes and really will press him on certain things comparatively to Elizabeth Warren, right? Like they fawn over her. Not so much Bernie, right? Because I think that they have made their choice, the media, and the choice likes Elizabeth Warren, right? Like this is our choice. So the media is like, this is what we want. This is our choice. Here's where we're going with this. But with Biden, it's interesting to watch them press him in ways that they don't really press. Even last night about, the climate thing, about like fossil fuels and money. And
now I know that you signed the No Fossil Fuel Money pledge, but I have to ask, how can we trust you to hold these corporations and executives accountable for their crimes against humanity when we know that tomorrow you are holding a high-dollar fundraiser hosted by Andrew Goldman, a fossil fuel executive?
He's not a fossil fuel executive. I'm telling you. He is not a fossil fuel executive.
But Isaac's question is, will you hold fossil fuel corporations and executives who've lied to the public accountable?
Yes.
Yes, we're going to. We're going to hold them accountable. Okay, well, and I love this, crimes against humanity.
There is a fundraiser tomorrow night. It's given by a guy named Andrew Goldman. He does hedge funds and stuff, but he also has a company called Western LNG. It's a floating liquefied facility for natural gas. So what Andrew is saying is you're going to a fundraiser that's given in part by this guy who has a company that is pulling up natural gas. Are you the right guy to go after these?
Well, I didn't realize he does that.
Well, you didn't realize he does that? Wait, what? You know who he is. Now, he's probably this guy, right? I mean, we're talking about a guy who's got a lot of money, probably does 1,000 different things. Do you know everything that he does? No, probably not, right? And much like, yesterday we touched on it, the pharmaceutical industry is the most hated industry right now, right? It's just evil and hated. We never once, though, say, well, hey, it's good that they came up with, cures for this and pills for that and all of this stuff that they've come up. We never talk about that. We just they're evil and they're bad. And the fossil fuel industry, we never say, hey, it's good that I can drive my car from point A to point B, right? And I don't have a horse, although some people might like a horse, right? It's good that I have some of these things. And I will tell you guys this. Having lived in Europe, having lived in places where gas is expensive, we're not paying $8 a gallon, right? Even California ain't paying $8 a gallon, and they would love to.
I was told if you look at the SEC filings, he's not listed as one of those executives. That's what we look at, the SEC filings. Who are those executives? I've kept that pledge, period.
So are you going to look at that fundraiser tomorrow night?
I'm going to look at what you just told me and find out if that's accurate, yes.
Okay. I think it's pretty accurate.
But what are you going to do? Right? Like, that's just it. What are you going to say? No, I'm not going to. Did you know this? Well, and the guy's going to be like, come on. But they all say that, right? And you don't know who's giving to you. What if it's a person that works for a company but likes you? Like, and they're going to throw something for you. Well, you're evil. But it's just interesting to listen to how they come and press him when they don't press others. Because I just feel like they want no part of him. They don't. Like, you're yesterday. You're not today. Elizabeth Warren is there. And some of that, quite frankly, may be the fact that, you know what? Let's be 100% honest. Media is business, right? You can call it show business, right? You call the news business. In the end, though, that business is the biggest part of that. Would they rather see him battle Trump, or would they say I'd rather see Warren battle Trump? Which one's going to draw the most eyeballs? Right? That's the reality of it. Which one's going to get people to pay attention? They like her politics. They like there's a certain sense too. They're like, I don't know if we want this kind of rematch. Trump and her, because they got something here. Sleepy Joe is not the same as Pocahontas or Hiawatha. It's different. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It would be interesting though. I don't know what they're going to do. Right with Joe. I don't even think Joe. The more I watch him, and look, you got to be honest with yourself. There's times he doesn't look like everything is that he's confused at some of the stuff, and for a person who talks, for a living, you can get that way. You talk all day. I mean, imagine how many times people are at places and they're meeting and you're shaking hands and you're in front of the media. The reality is, though, while those things can be exacerbated because of the spotlight that's on and we could take something and do it, it's not just, quote unquote, the right. There's a lot of people that have some questions that are not, how should I say this, skewing towards one side or another that I've talked to that have some questions about him and his health, his long-term health. And I think it's a fair question to ask. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Oh, guns.
Wegmans supermarket chain, Walgreens and CVS joining Walmart and Kroger in not specifically prohibiting guns from their stores, but requesting the customers other than law enforcement personnel not bring them. CVS saying it continually reviews policies and procedures to ensure a safe environment, and Wegmans' statement saying, quote, the sight of someone with a gun can be alarming, and we don't want anyone to feel that way at Wegmans.
I understand that, right? And this the wokeness, yeah. And by the way, if you're a person that's thinking about doing something, you're listening. Have you noticed that nobody ever attacks a shooting range? It's like, you know, we're going to go into here. We're going to, you know. It's interesting when you listen to something like that, where like, okay, we don't want you to bring guns in here, and it could be alarming. And I think there's a fear factor that goes into this stuff. And I talked to Congressman Biggs today, and we had a really interesting conversation. One of the things we talked about is the AR-15 is a perfect example. And then you look at something like a 30-06, and you hold up the bullets next to each other, and you're like, wow. And then you realize, well, hold on a second. This old wooden gun shoots this bullet way bigger, right? And this over here. And one of the things is sometimes it's that perception, right? That perception of, you look at that gun, it looks like a military gun. By the way, the military doesn't use that gun. It looks like this military gun. It looks like something that bad people should have. Like, this is evil. There's that perception where this, as they say, this, and I posted something yesterday, it's like, this is the wooden gun. It's pretty. This is what it shoots. And it's very interesting. And there's that perception. And I think there's a fear factor. And I think a lot of that fear factor, as I was talking to Congressman Biggs today, that is an unknown, right? It's very much an unknown. People, they've never shot a gun. They fear a gun. They don't understand it. They don't understand what it's like. And there's a certain sense, I think, of that's very real. And I understand why people don't want guns. And my son, so, you know, here I am in Phoenix. And my son's growing up in California. California is tough on gun owners. It is. I mean, my God, they just had the San Francisco City Council declared the NRA a domestic terror organization. I mean, that's the insanity of it all. But we've been out, when he's here, we've been out to dinner and to stores. And he'll be like, Dad, is that a police officer? I'm like, no. He's like, but he's got a gun. I'm like, yeah, well, here you can do that. And just it's interesting, just the shock on that. And I understand why people would feel, oh, that could be uncomfortable. But there's places that they don't even want police showing up on certain areas. Or if you're a police officer and you show up at school for your kid or whatever, could you not carry your gun? I've heard that story. There's a certain sense of fear. And I think a lot of that is the unknown. I think it really is. And I think for something like Walgreens or any of these other companies, it's your company. You do what you want, right? Same thing with the dress code and this, that, and the other. It's your company. You do what you want. And if that's what you want, I'd abide by it, right? I'd absolutely abide by it. That's what you want. But is it virtue signaling? Is it fear? And are you opening yourself up for something? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Sang the national anthem at the football game. They're going crazy in Chicago. I'm excited. Do a little what's trending straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
Plea deal this.
Mueller, arrest me.
Chad will trade you 2 perjury charges for 1 collusion and throw in a reduced charge of obstruction for free.
Yeah, I'd do that.
For just listening to The Chad Benson Show.
We're just talking about guns and stores saying, hey, we don't want you to carry in here. Somebody said, well, what about concealed carry? Well, the whole point for concealed carry is you don't know you have a gun. I guess if you don't ask, don't tell scenario, right? I don't think you're walking through metal. If I've got to walk through a metal detector to get into a supermarket somewhere, there's a good chance that I'm not going to give up my gun. Just letting you guys know that. If that's how bad the area is, I may not be giving up my gun in that situation.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old intranet. What's trending? Simple. The NFL. Trending big time. Lots of it. Nicki Minaj, of course, and her retirement. Not quite sure what that's. It Chapter 2. I believe that opens tonight. Trump and his Sharpie. Julio Jones. Freddie Mercury, 73. He would have been 73. You know Freddie would have been out there. Freddie had probably dyed his hair, too. He feels like a guy that would want to keep that dark hair. Scarlett Johansson, we'll talk about her in a little bit. That's on the old Google. Over on Twitter, Jack Ryan, because there's a new series out. NFL Kickoff, Jay Cutler and Drew Brees. And the Drew Brees is very interesting. We might touch on it in a little bit. Yeah, he's been out there. Not what you want as you get ready to start your NFL season, to be defending something you did that you thought was just, it's no big deal. Go out and do this, no big deal. But those are the things that are trending. NFL's trending because it's the 100 years. I was thinking about this today because I watched I was up really early, and I watched the Australian rules football. And if you've never seen it, it's basically every punter in the NFL is an Australian rules football player now. And they play in, like, soccer shorts and, like, shirts that have no sleeves. And I'm like, that's what the NFL was like 100 years ago, right? Like, guys played in, with, like, no helmet. If you go back, for as violent as our game is today, and that's because the guys are massive, right? The guys are just huge. And the speed and all of this stuff. But you go back and you look at the NFL, like, 50, 60, 70 years ago, guys died all the time. Not from heat exhaustion or whatever, from head injuries. From head injuries. And the interesting thing is, we're watching this tonight, and I am. I know some people aren't because I've already got text. I'm never going to watch the NFL again. And as I'm watching this thing, the question's still out there about CTE and all of that stuff. And Australia's going through the same thing with their big sport, which is Aussie rules football. And one of their leading doctors said, this sport, which is huge. I watched it today. There was like 70,000 people there. It's massive. It's just like as far as like, and it's their playoffs. So it's just totally like this. And one of the things they talked about is that they believe that within a generation, because of CTE, that sport will be gone. And if you look at the participation numbers in kids' sports today, baseball is back up. Basketball is back up. And has continued to rise. Football's not going anywhere, but I believe that they're going to find it tougher and tougher to get kids to play, and and high schools in particular are going to have to figure things out. I think what we're going to see in the future is, eventually, high schools will move to some sort of game of flag, eventually, and then colleges will still be tackle, Like maybe you play tackle. You could play tackle in your junior or senior year of high school, but not before then, or maybe just your senior year. And the reason being is they think maybe if you limit the amount of blows to your head, that, they're going to try to do everything they can. But I see it, Could you imagine? The sport that dominates like this, a generation of this thing being gone. Is it possible? Anything's possible. And with the rise of the likes of esports and stuff like that, some stuff will die just naturally. Turn of the century, last century, not this past one, the bridge and horse racing were the two big sports. Bridge. Football was an afterthought, by the way. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. It's Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
They all see this as a very urgent issue or a crisis.
Climate change, very urgent, could be a crisis, might be heading there. Everything's Trump's fault. They're going to fix it all to the tune of a whole bunch. How much is it going to cost? $700 gazillion. Is that even a number? I don't know. We're making it up from here. We don't have to work. Oh, goodness me. It was just watching them last night was just so interesting. I didn't, at some point in time, it's like, I'm sorry, but I feel like you guys are trying to solve a problem here that is global, if you believe it, no matter if you believe if it's man-made or if it's made just through nature, or if you just don't believe it at all. Just watching them last night, it's tough to get behind some of this stuff because I just feel like you guys really don't have any clue. Any. Scientists will tell you. You know what? You get 100 scientists in the room. You can get 100 scientists talk about different things, give you different theories and ideas. You can't. They'll all give you a different answer for different things. I think we should do this. No, 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 I think, because everything's a theory. We're testing. We don't know. Well, no, but I think we should do this. But I think we should do this. We all agree for this, but I think we should do this. Again, but when I listen to them, I hear fear-mongering. Right? Everybody accuses Trump of fear-mongering, and rightly so. He does. I mean, he plays to his base in a lot of ways, and, But that's what every politician does. They make the other side the evil bad, and it's the boogeyman, and I'm Batman, and that's the Joker, and blah, 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 blah.
We know how to do offshore wind. We know how to do solar. The question is, are we willing to put the resources into it? And my answer is, yeah, we better be willing to put the resources into it because the alternative is unthinkable. Life on Earth is at risk. And if we don't make this commitment, we not only cheat our children, we cheat their future and their children's future, and that is morally wrong. We have to be all the way.
So that's what's happening. The world's coming to an end. Oh, if only we had Samuel L. Jackson, Morgan Freeman, Bruce Willis, Ben Affleck, right? Liv Tyler. Did you see that Liv Tyler's in that new movie, Ad Astra, with Brad Pitt? I was like, every movie she's in, her boyfriend or husband is going off into space. Does that say something about her? Hey, I love you, but I'm going to go to space. Good luck to you. It just feels very fear-mongery, right? Like, I'd like to do some good stuff, too. Let's look at technology. Let's do stuff like that. Let's get people on board with some technology, and let's work smarter, not harder, at taking small steps, if you will. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Scarlett Johansson. So the next two things we're going to talk about, one of them is Black Widow and the other one is Hawkeye. And I'm still not quite sure like what their super uber powers were. Like they were just really good at stuff in the Marvel. I don't think Hawkeye's getting his own spinoff, but I do believe Scarlett Johansson is getting her own spinoff. But she was talking about Woody Harrelson.
Johansson says she's spoken to Allen.
Woody Allen. Woody Harrelson? I got the Woodies on my mind.
Johansson says she's spoken to Allen about sexual abuse allegations. I see Woody whenever I can, and I've had a lot of conversations with him about it. I have been very direct with him, and he's very direct with me. He maintains his innocence, and I believe him.
There you go. And, of course, in this day and age, you cannot say something like that without getting blowback.
Criticism came quickly on social media. Many critics calling out Scarlett Johansson for previously speaking up for sexual assault victims and supporting the Time's Up movement, while now fiercely defending Allen, who's faced allegations for decades.
Yeah. But, like I said, there are people out there that are friends with Woody Allen, right? Just like there are people out there who are friends with Roman Polanski, and they know him in a much different way. Just like there are people out there that still maintain, look, I knew Epstein for years. I didn't know any of this stuff. I didn't know any of this, right? Weinstein, people knew him for years. Didn't know any of these things. I mean, I heard rumors, but I never saw it for myself. So if I didn't see it for myself, I'm just going off what I know about the person. And again, I don't know what the Woody thing is, just weird in general. It's like, hey, I'd like to adopt you and then one day marry you. It seems uncomfortable, right? But what happened along the way, we'll never know. But he's married to her. Or is it Soon Yi? Is that her name? I feel like that's her name, but then I feel like I just made a racism. Did I just make a racism? Oh, my God. Oh, was it close enough? What did I said Soon Yi, right?
Yeah, it's close enough.
It's Soon Yi Previn. There we go. See, wasn't too bad. She's 48. He's 102. He's 83. Wow. That's a big jump right there, right? They got married. She graduated kindergarten and they got married on the same day. How about that? Here's the weird thing, too. This is something that Hollywood does. People want to work with people, right? In a lot of ways. And like Woody Allen's one of those things where he tends to use the same cast of people in a lot of things, like Jason Biggs and stuff like that. Everybody wants to work with Woody because they say he's just the easiest director to work with, right? Like nobody wants to work with, like Francis Ford Coppola or James Cameron. Like it's tough to work with them, right? They're taskmasters, it's just, and they usually bring out the best in you in a lot of ways. But Woody's one of those people where everybody likes to work with Woody, and he's usually like, did you like it? It was one take. You did a great job. We're not going to do another one, and we're just going to move on. He does those kind of things. Have you met my daughter? I mean, my wife, my wife. Chad, you're not very nice to Woody. No, I'm not. But she's going to get criticized for that. Because you can't, in this woke culture, you can't be seen as somebody who supports somebody like that, right? And again, I don't know the whole story. I just know it's weird.
In case you didn't know, Jeremy Renner,
who was also Bourne, just for you guys remember, he played Bourne in one of the movies. Really? Oh, yeah, he did. It wasn't a good one.
In case you didn't know, Jeremy Renner, who plays Hawkeye in the Avengers movies,
figured it's a good place to lay low.
He had an app. It was a place for fans to gather, check out Renner's music, look at pictures, and chat about their love for the two-time Oscar nominee. That is, until the trolls invaded. Over the past couple of months, people have been impersonating Renner, posting hateful comments. The whole thing just generally descended into chaos. In a goodbye post, the actor says what was supposed to be a place for fans to connect has turned into something he detests and won't condone.
Anywhere that you can have any kind of comments, expect just it to be awful. Like, just look at comments, and within, I don't even need to know what the story is, right? You could just go, and you're going to find 3 seconds into it, it's devolve into racism, sexism, wokeness. It just falls apart. It does not matter what it is. It doesn't. It just falls. Everything goes. And this is one of those things where you can't have nice things. Why? He put something out there. He thought people would be like, hey, they're fans. They like, we can all hang out. We can talk. We can BS. We can have a good time. And what ends up happening? People get on there, and then it goes sideways because human beings anymore can't be trusted. I can't trust you. I want to trust you that you're not going to do something stupid. But given the opportunity, and who is it usually? Losers, right? Sitting around trying to make themselves feel bigger and better about themselves, who are going to bitch, whine, moan, and complain about everything to try to make themselves feel better. And they're going to take swipes, and they're going to get involved in everything, and eventually it just goes to hell in a handbasket. It does. It just goes and falls apart. And you just sit there and shake your head. It's so sad. But when you give people free opportunities to sit there and yap and think, okay, we can all just come here and just have a conversation. No. Because what happens is somebody will say, hey, Jeremy Renner or so-and-so or Scarlett Johansson or Dave Chapelle or whoever it is, I like you, but I didn't like that song, or, I respect your work, but I didn't like the fact what you said about Woody Allen. And then somebody chimes in. And then from there, it starts to go sideways. Well, I don't think that's very nice. Oh, I've just, stated my opinion. I just don't like the fact that, and the next thing you know, it's like, well, you are a blankety blank. Or that was racist, and then everything goes south. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. We were talking earlier about Bar West, the Sacramento eatery that has new policy after 10 o'clock. You can't wear chains or grills or joggers or and everybody's like, it's that's racism, this, that, and the other. And somebody tweeted in and said, I just love this. At Chad Benson Show, Chrome Icon says, I am not all surprised about the story about Bar West. My wife calls that place Bro West. I'm like, okay. All right, I get it. Now, is that a white? Is that a white thing, bro? Bro, like, because they say the grill thing apparently is racist. Can't wear grills. I don't know why wearing a grill is bad, but it is what it is. Maybe we should go there one day and just throw a grill on and see if we can get in. Just dress all super baggy pants, right? Because you can't do that. But it's only after 10. So if you show up at 9:50 and you're decked out in your grill and the chains and you got joggers on and a sweat top, and you can get in. But after 10, not happening. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Tweet at me. Tell you what. I'm looking around. I've got one credit card. And I pay it down every month. I don't have a lot on it because I've never been a credit guy. But I look around and I see people who, my uncle and I were talking about this the other day, is his credit cards, because we have a business together. We put a lot of stuff on our business credit cards. And some of that stuff's just insane. And we only put little bits on it. We pay it off immediately. And a lot of people don't do that. And they look and they're like, oh my God, I bought a dinner 8 years ago. I'm still paying for it. Yeah, that's what happens. 19% APR is the average on credit cards. Many times way higher than that. Again, go down and borrow money from Tony, right? Fat Tony. He's going to give it to you in a plastic bag or something like that. He's not going to charge you the same kind of VIG that these companies do. Lightstream's not like that. You can get a credit card consolidation loan from Lightstream for as low as 5.95% with AutoPay. Here's some great, right? $5,000, $100,000 loan. You get it in many cases the same day. But what I love is there's no fees at all. No application fees, no origination fees, no transaction fees, no prepayment penalties. That is absolutely amazing. Easy application. You can do it right on your phone. And when you go to lightstream.com/Benson, you can even get a special interest rate discount. That's lightstream.com/Benson. Subject to credit approval. Rate includes 0.50% autopay discount. Terms and conditions apply. Subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/Benson for more information. It is the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where we reach across the aisle and occasionally poke someone in the eye.
Any gaffe that I have made, and I've made gaffes like every politician I know has, have been not about a substantive issue.
And he pushed back on a Washington Post report that he's been telling inaccurate stories out on the campaign trail, saying it's the message that matters, not the details. The early frontrunner joking that he's already considering his running mate.
Yeah, Michelle Obama. Man, he's going to do everything to hold on to that, huh? Oh, my Lord. Tell you what, they're coming. They're not coming for very little examination of, like, nobody's looking into, like, Klobuchar when Gillibrand was running and any of the, nobody's really looking into any of them because they're non-starters, right? Warren is real. Buttigieg, we know a bit about, obviously. Harris. But nobody's really looking into them who at least are somewhat players on a bigger stage. They're sure now looking after him, though. They're asking questions that they, I just don't think they want anything to do with him. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. What is in the damn water?
Is there a plesiosaur in Loch Ness? No. There is absolutely no evidence of any reptilian sequences in our samples.
All right. That right there is a scientist. Neil Gemmell, geneticist, scientist from New Zealand's University of Otago. They've been there. They have done a lot of stuff. They've been looking. They're trying to get to the bottom of what in God's name is in there.
So I think we can be fairly sure that there is probably not a giant scaly reptile swimming around in Loch Ness.
Fairly sure. Not 100%. Fairly sure, though. They took a bunch of samples and didn't find any reptilian.
So there's one idea that remains plausible.
Now, this is very interesting. There is actually something, potentially, that I could see as very plausible.
So there's one idea that remains plausible.
I said that.
Although the evidence for this is fairly anecdotal. There is large amounts of eel DNA in Loch Ness. Eels are very plentiful in the lochs. Every single sampling site that we went to pretty much had eels. And the sheer volume of it was a bit of a surprise. Now, is it possible that what people are seeing is a giant eel? Well, maybe. We don't know if the eel DNA that we are detecting is gigantic, from a gigantic eel, or just many small eels.
Don't know. But there's some big eels, and that is always a possibility, and you could see how that could be, especially when you think about Nessie and all of that stuff. Is it possible? We always want to think it's possible, don't we, in some way, shape, or form? So it makes us human. The possibilities, if you will. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. We'll keep it right here for your useless fact of the day. The slowest swimming fish is the dwarf seahorse. It swims at 0.01 mile an hour. The fastest moving fish is a blackfin. Very, very fast. Up to 80 miles an hour. What? Have yourself a good rest of your night. Talk to you tomorrow. I see Friday. Night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.